Hi, y'all. It is the Southern Belle from Hell here. And in case you didn't realize by the intro, I am building the Addams Family house, or a representation of it. The Addams Family house has been done up so many times. It always seems to have this Victorian look, this old style. So I'm kind of sticking to tradition because I know on the cartoon version they had it look kind of mental asylum-y. But I'm just sticking to the old school Addams Family. I got inspiration mainly from the 90s version. I absolutely loved that version. That's the one I grew up with. But this build, it took a while, guys. So this is going to be not my longest build, but it's definitely going to be a long one. So sit tight, grab some pumpkin spice or whatever you drink during spooky season, and let's tuck in. Let's get into it. So this house is Victorian. So with Victorian houses, the roofs are nuts. The roofs are crazy. You have to play with it. You have to mess with it for a while, and it will cut in to your walls on this third story. The only thing that I did differently when it came to just playing through it is I did take a couple of roofs out just because it really got on my nerves how it was cutting through. But, you can't have it completely covered like you'll see it out here, without it cutting through a little bit, unfortunately. But it still ended up looking awesome. It still ended up looking like how I wanted it to. I tried to do the iconic look where there is, basically like a tower in front, and it has these old Gothic windows. I used the darkest swatch I could find for the roofs, and I'm going off of a model that I am linking down below for Morticia's greenhouse. And I also noticed that there was a glass roof above this little area that I wasn't really sure what to call, but I ended up putting the organ there. At first I completely forgot about the organ. You'll see me go, oh crap, I need to go and put that organ there. But yeah, everything ended up being great. And if you notice from the intro, I made the Addams family as well. I did use CC for the family. If you would like to download that family, or this house, my EAID is below. Now, if you are not wanting the family with CC and stuff, just let me know. It won't take long for me to edit. This house has no CC. It's just the family that has CC. And I had a lot of fun with the Sims resource, new Halloween stuff that all these creators came out with. It looks awesome and it works great. No glitches. I am so happy with the way these creators on the Sims resource did for this Halloween season. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to figure out what doors and what windows to use, because I didn't want to use the same stuff that I used for my last spooky haunted house looking build. I wanted it to look a bit different. That haunted house also had, black shingles and things like that. So I try to switch it up a little so it doesn't look like exactly, like that old house. I do regret putting this house on such a small lot because, of course, after I built it, I go, they had a huge cemetery. It was on a swamp. Oh gosh. But I also wanted to keep it in Forgotten Hollow because to me the landscape is just perfect all around it. So if you don't like that it's on such a small lot, I do apologize. But I fill this house with so much fun stuff, a lot of throwbacks to the movies and even the TV show, if you remember the TV show. Not the TV Land version, but like the cartoon version that came on Cartoon Network. Oh yeah, I was living for it. So I used I didn't limit myself with packs on this one. I used a bunch of different packs, guys. I really wanted this to come alive and just have fun with the Addams family and imagining like what stuff I could use for this build. I did not use the tool mod when building this house, and the reason why is because we just had an update, and the update right now it's not very compatible with the tool mod. The tool mod is usable, but it'll break other stuff in your game, and I just don't want to fool with that. So I'm doing all of this without using the tool mod. Usually I love to use the tool mod to add, extra realism and detail, but I think it came out just fine without it. It was so much fun. It was so much fun to build, guys. I love it, and I hope you do too. Now, for the house, I haven't really gotten into the guts of it yet, pun intended. I just kind of got creative with the layout because there's so many different layouts of the Addams family house. I thought about going off of one of the blueprints, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do like how I picture in my mind instead of trying to make the outside of this house, which matched the model I was going off of perfectly. I said, I'm just gonna, get creative with the layout and, just do my best. What I'm doing here is I'm adding another level so that I can have 3 staircases winding down instead of just the 2. Because if you see like the entryway opening, it's 3 grid spaces wide. So I didn't want to have 2. It just felt a little topsy-turvy for me. And right now I'm just trying to figure out where the basement's gonna go. They had a really quirky little basement, and I wasn't sure how to replicate that, but I end up making it basically Granny, who is Eudora Addams. I make it her little lair. She's kind of a witch character. I say kind of. They never talk about the occults that they're a part of. It's just basically like allusions to what occults they might be. Morticia looks undead. She looks like a vampiress. Meanwhile, her mother, Granny, she is, like your stereotypical hag-like witch. You have Fester that kind of reminds you a little bit of Frankenstein in a way, with how he's obsessed with, science, and he is always doing stuff like blowing stuff up and things like that. And yeah, you don't really know the occults they're in, and it makes me think about the monsters. You kind of knew the cults. They made it a little bit more obvious. The little boy was a little werewolf. Herman Monster and Lily Monster, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and her dad being, Count Dracula. Not really sure how that happened, but it obviously happened. But the Addams family, oh my goodness. I can't say which family's my favorite, the Monsters or the Addams. I love them both, but the Addams family is just so iconic, and I love all the movies. I love the shows. I love the rendition of Wednesday. I love it, and I don't know if I'm sure I'm not the only one that's noticed this, but in the movies, in the shows and everything, what I've always loved about the Addams family is how weird they are, but also how loving they are. If you notice, like all the other, quote unquote normal families, they don't, love each other, or they don't express it in the shows and in the movies like the Addams family does. Like, they're super supportive of their kids. The Gomez and Morticia, absolutely obsessed with each other, like they just started dating. I mean, it was precious. In the weirdest way, it is precious. And I think that's what gives it kind of like the funny element, but it's also just kind of sweet. I remember when I was little, I used to think like, oh, I hope I have a relationship like Morticia and Gomez. And, I kind of do. I kind of do. I have long black hair, and I am with an avant-garde man. If he sees this, he's going to kill me for saying that. So I kind of have the guts of the house figured out, like the typical layout. I like to do that before I start really landscaping. And I just take a bunch of stuff out. If any of you have ever watched my videos before, I just take a bunch of crap out that I may or may not use. And I just have it out in the lot because I get so frustrated looking through the debug and the live edit menu and all that great stuff, because it's like you find something and you're like, oh, that's perfect. And then you can never find it again. And since the Better Build By mod is also, not working correctly, it makes it so much harder to find the stuff, you really want to find. But I add a whole bunch of clutter to the backyard because their backyard was so unkept. They had, remnants of vehicles. They had toxic waste and everything leading down into the swamps. They had a cemetery, just kind of out in the open, wasn't hidden or tucked away. It was like, having a swing set or something. So even though I do kind of tuck this away, I guess I don't, because it's not a very big yard. I do try to make it like a focal point in the yard. I use a tomb from the cats and dogs pack. I put some pretty gothic looking statues and stuff like that. In the tombstones I just got from Base Game. I like how big and bulky they are. I noticed that a lot of the tombstones are really tiny. Like, you have to size them up to get them that big, and then they don't want to sit on the ground right if you have like elevation issues like I do right now. So yeah, I just stick to the Base Game with those tombstones. And now I'm trying to figure out how I want to put these vines, because of course I'm going to put vines. I really love the way these red vines curved around, because it made me think of Morticia's greenhouse and all of her creepy plants in there. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? Maybe she's got some wild vines that are slowly creeping up the house. And of course, the Addams love everything creepy. So all of these dead plants and dead rose bushes and vines going up the window, they're not going to want to clean it. They're going to think it's beautiful. So that's what I kind of just mess around with, and I loved putting these vines up. It was very time consuming. It really was. I'm speeding up this part of the video just because it takes so long for me. But I love the way they design these vines. It looks so realistic, especially in gameplay, and when I put up like the little night lights and stuff. I just thought it was perfect. And I kind of add some vines in that have remnants of red roses that haven't fallen off yet. I just thought it added a little interesting touch, to the vines crawling up and around the house. But it was just so much fun to play around with these dead plants and, trying to make it look interesting even though it's dead, which is so Morticia at this point. I do decide just to add, some more interesting touches and also kind of meld with the landscape these wild painted vampire ferns. I just thought it went well because you see a ton of these all over Forgotten Hollow. I had a dilemma. Guys. I almost put this house in, a typical suburban neighborhood like Willow Creek, and, just kind of took away the goth house. Because in all the shows and movies and stuff, they're in a normal neighborhood. And then all of a sudden you come to their house and it's just spooky and fog everywhere. But I didn't know how to really create that exact effect if I were to build this, in Willow Creek or something. I said, well, Forgotten Hollow already has those creepy vibes. So I guess I took the lazy way out. I don't know. right now I'm just kind of messing with the, the lighting and, how it looks at night. And I decided to add more night lights so that it looks more spooky. And I put these garden lights on top of the wrought iron fence that's around the roof. I just thought that this, kind of made the house a little bit more glowy, and really kind of drew your eye in to this extremely creepy mansion. And to me, it looked great. I ended up putting more garden lights on the ground, and it creates this really awesome effect against the red vines. It looks like it's just a bloody glow, and it's so cool. I absolutely love it. Since this house is a bit quirky, I used a lot of stuff from the Halloween stuff pack because, they weren't straight up goth. You know what I mean? They were quirky. They would have these little lamp holders with, that looked like green slimy claws coming out. To me, that just fit in perfect with the vibe I was going for. Right now, and this was a challenge, trying to figure out whose room is whose, because we have, Morticia and Gomez, of course. We have Wednesday. We have Pugsley. We have the grandmother, and we have Lurch. So we have 6 Sims to think about, and I'm trying to just think like, okay, who's gonna sleep where? Who's gonna go where? Who would have this kind of style, and vice versa. So yeah, I just try to get as creative as I can, and still try to kind of keep up with this funny, quirky, as well as gothic, spooky vibe. I hope that makes sense. It's fun to do this on The Sims, but it's also hard to find all of these materials to accomplish that look. I kind of like the idea of Morticia's greenhouse coming off from the dining room, so I decided to make this area entering into the greenhouse the family's formal dining area. I had fun playing with the little swatches, and there was a lot of things from the vampire stuff pack that I used that were swatches that I've never used before, because I did not want to do the inside of this house all black. I wanted to make it as, pretty interesting. I wanted to add different colors, still have black, the primary color, but, make it interesting. I would think that Morticia and Gomez would have a red room, just super romantic, super almost cheesy. For Pugsley's room, I make it kind of babyish. I have Pugsley in this game as a child, and I have Wednesday as a teen, just because I found this awesome Wednesday outfit on the Sims resource for this, Halloween collection this time of year. And they did have a version for a child, but to me, it looks so much better on the teen version of Wednesday. So I try to make Pugsley's room look kind of babyish, because in my opinion, in all the movies and shows, he's such a baby. He's so childlike, and Wednesday is so not, It's like she's an evil genius stuck in this young body, and, she's frustrated. She doesn't understand why, Pugsley's not as intelligent as her, but then she also has fun tormenting him because he's not as intelligent. Not that he's dumb, he's just, to me, he's more childlike. So I make his room kind of looking like he just got out of the toddler stage. You know what I mean? I'm gonna, dress it up with the storybook nursery kit, which went perfect with these kind of vibes. The aesthetic of the storybook nursery kit is just, perfect goth baby decor. So there are some vines that are clipping through the walls, and I decided to keep them. I liked the effect. I thought about moving them all and everything, but then I was like, this looks spooky. To me, this kind of adds to the fact that the Addams, when they have vines and stuff growing around their house, they're not going to clip it back. They're going to actually try to make it flourish even more, because that's the type of family they are. So I end up keeping those vines, just keep it cutting into the walls and stuff, because I really like the effect it kind of added. I just kind of dressed this space up with, jet crystal candles, the, weird looking bird skeleton. I try to mix and match pictures of, like a Victorian family. I use a lot of stuff from the Halloween stuff pack, the vampire stuff pack, werewolves, paranormal. I do use some art from cats and dogs, as well as Discover University, just because they have, old looking pictures or old paintings that to me just kind of fit this aesthetic. And the huge thing about the Addams family, they were obsessed with their family's history. So I would think in the Addams family home that, they would have pictures just covering the walls of different places their families lived, pictures of their family. They always talked about their family. It was such a loving show, such a loving, weird family that I really aspire to be. So this little space right here is basically the living area, and while I'm putting together this bookshelf that I wanted kind of curving, because they were they had a bunch of books. I remember that, just, huge bookcases in, the movies and the shows and stuff. I all of a sudden remember I put chimney stacks up. We need chimneys. So you see me kind of rearranging this bookcase. I do have a bookcase door, like a secret door that goes into the entrance to the basement below. Kind of a, little secret entrance. I believe it was in the 90s. I think it was the first Addams Family movie, not Addams Family Values, but the first one, where he opens up his bookcase and goes on this crazy ride with Uncle Fester, and he just does it by opening this certain book in his bookcase. So I actually put 2 hidden door bookcases in this house, because there really wasn't a reason for him to have different things hidden. I think he just liked the mystique of it, because everything else they had out in the open. They weren't scared to let their freak shine, which of course that's why everyone loves the Addams family. But I don't recall seeing any TVs, any electronics, and I felt like all the TVs would just look so weird in this build, like it just wouldn't match. So there are no TVs on this lot. I do put the gramophone in here. I figured like that would be perfect. I don't know how I have the gramophone, to be honest, because all of my Grim Rewards stuff has been so glitched. It's just all of a sudden one day it was in my buy mode. I don't know if that's the same for everyone. But then when I was looking for like a stereo or something to put in this house, because I recall like they love music, like Baroque classical music. All of a sudden I see the gramophone and I go, oh, I didn't win that. I haven't been able to win anything because it's glitched out. So if you download this from the gallery, voila, you have the gramophone. I think that's about all that I could find in my buy mode that is from this Grim Rewards event. And I'm super disappointed in that, guys. I am super disappointed in the Grim Rewards event because it seems like so much fun. like, it seems more fun and more, engaging than the last awards event for Love Struck. And I was ready for it. I was so excited, and immediately when I started playing it, it was just so glitched out. And of course I did what we all do. I checked my mods and all that. And even when I played on a file that had no mods, no CC, no nothing, I still couldn't get that rewards event to act right. So I don't know. Hopefully they just give it all to us. So right now I'm working on the kitchen. I only recall fleeting scenes of their kitchen. So what I try to do is I try to make it big and spread out. Have a lot of Victorian style with the, long cabinets. And I just try to make it as beautiful, but also a little bit on the cluttered side, because this family they just seem to me to really like the clutter. They weren't dirty people by any means, but they had a bunch of crap. They had a bunch of crap in their house. So I just kind of fill this area up with as much gothic looking stuff as I possibly could. Try to add some interesting elements to it. And yeah, I had a great time with this. I used a lot of stuff from the Journey to Batu pack because that hourglass is creepy, man. I mean, that's from Journey to Batu. That is a creepy looking hourglass. I don't know. I was one of those simmers that, wasn't going to get Journey to Batu. And now that I've got it, I think I use something in every build. It comes with so much stuff and so much cool stuff. So now we're working on the dining room, and it's not extremely lavish. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's small. But I really kind of like the way this room turned out as it goes into the little greenhouse area. I decided to put a spirit box on the outside. I just felt like it looked perfect, so why not have a spirit box out there? So for her greenhouse, it's not really big. So I put that little rose that maybe she hasn't cut the blooms off yet, and it's encircling around that little statue. I just put a bunch of weird plants. If y'all want to use this area for planting, this stuff is just for show. You can remove it. I just really liked the way these dark swatches from the Strangerville pack looked. It looked creepy. It was giving me all the right feelings. So now I'm trying to decide how to decorate the second story landing, because it's a big space. So I kind of just make this like an art gallery. Different pictures of people, could be their family members. And there's this shelf set, and it's like a menagerie of, miscellaneous items. And I knew I wanted it, but I couldn't decide where, so you see me moving that around a lot. I used some stuff from Journey to Adventure, like the skeletons, maybe paying homage to their fallen family members. Maybe that is a fallen family member. From the Love Struck pack, I decided to give Gomez and Morticia the vibrating heart bed in black, of course. And yeah, I just thought that would be perfect for them. And I use a lot of Love Struck stuff in their bedroom, because to me, that pack is perfect for that type of relationship. I keep their bathroom all red, real deep red with, his and her robes, just like a cute little bathroom. And for Fester's room, I had the most fun decorating Fester's room. So, in all the glimpses we had in his room looked really messy and really cluttery. A bunch of science stuff. It's kind of known that Fester's been in the insane asylum. So I was trying to make it look really cluttered and messy and have a bunch of scientific stuff that, you're like, why would he use this? We don't know. X-rays of cats and people, and, we don't know why he's using it, but he's using it. Now, I do a lot of this kind of stuff off camera where I put, you know, little holes in the walls and cobwebs, you know, spider webs, little dark marks in the walls. I do every room with that off camera. You just saw me put a little bit in Fester's room. I do it throughout the whole house, but I do it at the very end after I'd done press stop record and I forgot to press record again. So if you hate that you missed out on watching me go through the whole house and putting the cobwebs up, I do apologize, but I completely forgot. So yeah, I just use a bunch of quirky stuff. The posters to kind of cover up the windows, just dingy stuff. And this area right here, I want to say in one scene we see Lurch's bedroom, and it's just basically like a cupboard, like Harry Potter before, you know, Harry Potter was a thing. I didn't make him a cupboard bedroom, but I did make him a tiny little bedroom where it looks like, you know, he just lives for the family. He doesn't really care how neat his room is. It's just a bunch of makeshift stuff. What you saw me just do, I remembered we've got to have an organ in this house. So I switched the organ out and I moved the seance table to the basement. So that's what just happened there. It was, you know, just randomly while I'm building, I go, crap, I've got to have an organ in here. I mean, how else can they play their iconic song? You know, dun 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 dun. Yeah, they have to have the organ. Come on. So now that I have dingified Fester's and Lurch's little area, now I'm working on the third story, which I have as the kids' rooms. So Pugsley, I give him like a really childish, girlish looking poster. And I'm just trying to kind of clutter this area up with, you know, sculptures. And I found the stolen Cordelia's necklace. Fester, he had several stories about stealing valuables. So I thought that was a good little, you know, detail to add in there. And this is Wednesday's room. This is Pugsley's room. Pugsley has the lighter shade, but I still use a lot of the storybook nursery kit on both of their rooms just because to me it just fits in so perfectly with them. There is a picture of a little girl with black hair, and to me I'm like, oh, that could be Wednesday as a baby, and I put it, you know, on the bedside table. I loved her room. I felt like she would have wallpaper like this, and I'm not sure if I don't think it was in the show, but there was, I want to say it was in the 90s where she's painting and it's really dark and really creepy. So I put some swatches and I have a bunch of paint stuff in her room. And yeah, with Pugsley here, he's got toys. He's got a ton of toys, man. All right, so now we're working on their bathroom. Super dark, gray, black, white, but you know, just functional enough for these kids. I put some remnants that show that there are kids that live here. You know, it's not all just like dark and depressing. And I have the sugar skulls kind of scattered around, almost like kids' toys. Last but not least, we are doing Granny's bedroom. Granny's bedroom looks super grand. She's a witch, so I figure she would have a really nice spot where she would, you know, concoct her potions and all of that great stuff. So this room kind of acts as her bedroom / potion making dungeon. And I just kind of scatter a bunch of stuff from Realm of Magic and paranormal stuff all over these shelves. I think it looked so cool, and it looks even cooler in gameplay. I have to say I'm very impressed with the way this room and this whole spot turned out. The other rooms that are in this basement, I have some gemology stuff from Crystal Creations. And I put a little seance table in the same room as the bar. Like, this is kind of the sit and chill area. We may need some spirits to lift our spirits. You know, that's my way of thinking. But no, I ended up just really loving how this basement looked. It kind of looked like a really fun area of the house to just, you know, do a seance, whip up some potions, you know. I do put crystal chargers on the very roof of the house. Like, I put like 5 of them up there just because I like the effect. But we are close to the end of this build. I hope you really enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Feel free to download it off the gallery. I hope you guys have a happy Halloween. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.